What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Racing Lines Episode 2 and the State of IndyCar.
State of IndyCar. Both of ours, definitely to one of our top threes. I know that sounds crazy when talking about motorsports, but I believe next to IMSA, it's my favorite. IMSA and IndyCar for sure.
IMSA and IndyCar kind of switched for me. It depends on if it's a race weekend for IndyCar.
Yeah. And NASCAR is sneaking its way further into my heart because they just have races every weekend, and that's a great benefit.
And it's a lot of ovals. They drive in circles.
Yep. But you know what oval it isn't? You know what oval it isn't?
Kentucky Speedway.
Not Kentucky Speedway. Fucked up. But we're not talking about that today. We're talking about the state of IndyCar. We're just going over generally how the season's going, our thoughts on how the series could get better, stuff like that, overall. So, where you want to start, Pat? You want to start with our favorite scheduling?
Yeah, I got a number for you guys. 21.
21
That's not
days.
what 9 plus 10 equals. It's how many days between races there have been.
Yep, the first 3 races, the gap is 21, 21, 21. That is unacceptable. And you can see it in the viewership numbers that the steam was lost. You had the great advertisement with the Super Bowl. You had the great ads, best ads I've seen for motorsport, period, recently. And you blow it by having large gaps in the schedule that need to be filled. Just straight up, you can't. The rest of the season is acceptable.
Yeah.
It is. So I did some math. The average season-wide is 12 days between races. Which doesn't sound bad. But then you take out the first 3 races, and it goes down to 9.9, which is on par with a little more than F1. But those first 3 races being 21, 21, 21 is just unacceptable, and it kills any momentum you have coming into the season.
Like, what's wild is there's been more IMSA racing at the beginning of the season than IndyCar racing, and IMSA runs less races. And they run 24-hour races.
Yeah, like for endurance races. And it's not due to it just and I want the solution to be adding races, obviously, not shuffling the schedule so it looks more close to just a lot of 2-week gaps.
We're there with a little bit better next year with Arlington being scheduled for the end of March. So that'll at least give us a little more steam at the beginning of the season. But then we're going to lose it again after Thermal.
Yeah, so just that's our first point of critique with IndyCar. Just improve the schedule, shorten the gap in the beginning of the schedule, add more races. And I would also obviously like to see this season extended, obviously, too. I know it's hard that time of year.
Yeah, the season ends beginning of September, end of August. That's just a little bit too early. Oh my gosh, I need like another Celsius. I keep yawning, dude. I still have a website to make.
Yeah, this is our second pod recording of the night and our second time doing this due to a audio malfunction. Shout out OBS, we love you.
Shout out OBS. You're the reason I'm looking at maybe finally spending money on Riverside.
Oh, but the schedule. I mean, it's just the big glaring issue to me. The biggest one, I feel. Yeah, you got anything to add to that, Pat?
I mean, the other thing I'd add with the scheduling, and like, I understand why IndyCar moved away from ovals because they weren't selling well. But I feel like we're kind of seeing a resurgence in the popularity of ovals as the popularity of IndyCar increases. So I'd love to see a oval before the Indy 500. I find it wild that a rookie's first time running an IndyCar on an oval, or in Robert Schwartzman's, in his circumstances, his first time racing on an oval full stop is at the Indy 500.
Wow.
I think that would also just lead to more confidence on qualifying day, and confidence on qualifying day means more exciting qualifying day. Because you'll have drivers pushing. It's not going to be a predictable bottom 3 or bottom 4 this year. Um, I could probably rattle off 4 people, and at least 2 of them would end up in the bottom 4. But
Yeah.
we'll save that for a predictions episode for the Indy 500. We'll be predicting qualifying results the week before quali and all that.
Yeah. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, I mean, adding an oval in that early slot would be great.
As
I
much as
want to
I'd
say
love
Kentucky
Kentucky Speedway, the weather wouldn't be
weather,
great.
it wouldn't be good for that.
Maybe even like a Phoenix or an Atlanta. Atlanta would probably be a really good one. Because
Yeah.
it's still a really fast track. Or even shift to Nashville to that early date and then throw Kentucky in on for the season finale.
That would spark some controversy, but I'd love that. I'd even be fine going to like a Milwaukee Mile type track. Go to the Rock. I mean, why not?
They just repaved
Why?
it.
Yeah, rub it in by NASCAR.
Yeah. I mean,
But
if NASCAR can race at a track, IndyCar can race at a track. That's my opinion.
yeah, Bowman Gray. So you want to do Bowman Gray?
Dude, that would be wild, and I'd be here for it. Stingray Rob is ending up in the crowd. Or Stingray's launching someone into the crowd. Stingray's launching Ferrucci into the crowd. Ferret fucks going over the fence. We're never getting an interview with Ferrucci if they watch this episode.
That's crazy. Ferret fuck.
I made the comment in my presentation yesterday that this channel is the downfall of me being able to get a job at multiple race teams if they find it.
Swear to God. But
Team Penske never hiring me.
No. Joey, if Joey Logano's within a mile of it, I can't be near it.
I saw a content creator job for them, but it said NASCAR and IndyCar, and I just can't risk having to interact with Joey Logano. I'd punch him. You hear that, Roger Penske? I will punch your driver if I see him. This is a threat.
Going back to Indy. Fuck Joey Logano. Once again, same rule applies. 10 likes on this video, I'll burn my Joey Logano card with my Buc-ee's lighter live in the next
Fuck
podcast.
it. 10 likes combined between the 2 episodes this week.
Fuck it. If somebody likes the video.
I'll like it the minute it goes live. It's fine.
But, yeah, add an oval in that early schedule could just, give them rookies a practice and get everyone kind of warmed up in general on ovals before the Indy 500.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything else on scheduling you got?
I'd love if we did that oval where we expanded the number of cars that were able to race at it to where those 500 drivers could, if they chose to, like Dreyer Reinbold could take their cars to that event, which they can always try to qualify into that event. But I don't like I'd like if we had it at 33 entries. Or even 34, fuck it, let all of them show up. If it's a NASCAR track, they have enough pit stalls for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, scheduling is probably the worst thing with IndyCar right now. It's what's hurting it the most. If we can improve the scheduling, everything else that Fox has done and IndyCar themselves have done will culminate together, and it will create the premier series in the US. Because I think you have a ton of disillusioned NASCAR fans, you have a ton of disillusioned F1 fans. If we can get both of them in, we're golden.
Yeah, I mean that's what you want to shoot for, and that would be a great audience to hit. So I mean that's a big thing. Rolling right off of that, speaking of Fox, I think we both agree overall they've done a pretty good job. The advertising is a 10 for me. The broadcast issues are getting worked out. Long Beach was pretty good.
Yeah. Just a couple of scoring pylon glitches.
Yeah, get that stuff
nothing major,
out,
though. They fixed the tire graphics, thank God. I hated the old tire graphics. Not the old ones from NBC. I liked the NBC ones. I mean, like the St. and thermal ones. Horrible.
The thermal ones you could watch.
Yeah. I mean, it looked like a Unity free asset that some single dev would use in a game.
Literally. Literally.
That's the best way I can describe that.
Motorsport Manager had a better graphic than that.
Yes, 100%. I have a better graphic in Motorsport Manager. Um,
But the graphics patches have gotten better. I'm glad they immediately went away from the cartoons. Thank God. The driver intros are awesome.
Scotty
Um,
Mac, dude.
horrifying. It
I
was
had
horrifying.
nightmares about Scotty Mac's cartoon, dude.
Patrick, I'm gonna make your life harder. Insert my sleep paralysis demon here, okay? Insert here because that shit was terrifying. But overall, Fox has done a good job. The booth is great.
They've listened to
Um,
feedback. Yeah, the booth is phenomenal. I mean, you've got Townsend Bell, James Hinchcliffe, and not Will Buxton. It was not. Yeah, it was Townsend Bell. I don't know. I got him and Kevin Lee mixed up for a second in my head.
yeah,
Um,
so
the pit
great
reporters
booth.
are great. Love the pit reporters that they've got out. Jack Harvey had a rough go at it in St. Pete. You could definitely tell he was nervous, but um, by Long Beach, he seemed in the
Was a
zone and
lot
very
better.
comfortable. And I like
Yeah,
having former drivers as the pit reporters because they know what's going on. I mean, Jack
yeah,
Harvey was in a car last year. He's going to be in a car in Indy. Um,
yeah.
yeah,
He knows
excited.
ball.
I think I have a
So
Jack
I mean,
Harvey autograph somewhere.
I could get the note. I could get the old book out.
Get the binder out.
Get the binder out.
Or he
But
might have
Fox.
been in the line at Mid Ohio and I didn't go. No, it was Toby Sowery was in that seat at Mid Ohio, I think.
Oh yeah, would have been
It
Toby
wasn't
Sauer.
Jack Harvey yet. Dale
But
Coyne. They had 10 drivers last year. I get them mixed up.
for real. But overall, I think we have the same thought process on the actual Fox broadcast.
Now, how
The
are your.
viewership numbers
Yeah,
are
keep.
okay. I'll go through these real quick. 1.4 million in St. Pete,
Amazing.
huge, 45% increase. It then went down 11% to 700 and is this the number we found out I was wrong on? 704,000. Down 11%.
It's
Never
Long
mind, I
Beach that
fixed
you
it.
were wrong on.
I fixed it. 704,000 down 11% in thermal. Now that had a lot to do, I'm sure, with the blackout
Yeah, we were competing
during the race.
directly against NASCAR. Same start time and everything in thermal. Honestly, right now, IndyCar is going to lose that battle 9 times out of 10 unless it's the Indy 500.
Yeah, and then Long Beach was up from 307,000 to 552,000.
Yep. And in-person attendance records were broken for Long Beach.
So if the sport is healthy and Fox is doing a good job and really supporting the series and backing it with money,
And
I
I do
really
have to
hope
shout
they
out with
continue.
that in-person attendance number, the sponsor activations that IndyCar has are phenomenal. I
Beautiful.
wish that Mission sold the racing style chips in stores.
For
I'd
real.
buy them. That would be my exclusive tortilla chip. But instead I have to buy boring strips from you, Mission. Do better.
And we got the Capri Sun alcohol. It was great.
Oh
The
yeah, from
pouches.
Big Machine. Big Machine's a huge
Yeah.
supporter. They will not be title sponsoring Nashville this year.
Yep.
They're no longer,
a-
or they didn't say they weren't title sponsoring it, but they're not promoting it this year.
Yeah.
It's going to Penske Entertainment to promote.
There you go.
Which we'll see how that goes. A little bit nervous about the activations in downtown Nashville the week of the race if Big Machine isn't super involved, but Big Machine's going to be involved. They're going to be a sponsor of the event. They sponsor so much in motorsports.
They do.
It's a great company, great product, just super expensive.
Yeah, I wish the price were lower, but yeah,
And if I can get
activation's
some
great.
bruschetta bourbon, if anyone knows where I can get bruschetta bourbon with the little Indy 500 car toppers, hit me up. I will pay absurd money for it.
Rolling right off that, if you're okay, Pat.
It's also
speaking
not
of
real bourbon
bourbon.
because it's made in Tennessee, but that's a conversation for a different day.
Yeah, real bourbon is just only Kentucky bourbon.
Yep.
But rolling off of that, if you're done with the Fox broadcast, speaking of fan experience, we can speak to experience from this having gone to 3 and 2 IndyCar races.
Yeah.
respectively. I went to the Indy GP last year, Mid Ohio and Nashville. Patrick going to Mid Ohio and Nashville.
And we'll be
The
at
fan experience.
4 this year.
Yep, Indy GP, Indy 500, Mid Ohio, Nashville.
Yep.
Thrilled. The fan experience at IndyCar races is next to none, and none is IMSA, in my experience. And that's just from the Daytona 24. I'll be curious what a non-WeatherTech weekend looks like at Mid-Ohio later this year, and then what a
with
WeatherTech
just
weekend
Michelin.
looks like.
But I feel like it'll
at
probably look
Indy.
similar to what SRO Motorsports Group runs for their events, the GT World Challenge, which is very accessible and a great fan experience as well.
Yeah. So, overall, the Indy fan experience is great. There's great merchandise, and the activations are pretty good. Mid Ohio is sparse because it's Mid Ohio, but I
mean,
understand
even
that.
then, you've still got a decent amount of
Still good.
activations. You've
We
got
met our bro
Honda
at
doing
Firestone.
giveaways. You've got Honda doing Honda's super involved at Mid Ohio because it is their track.
Yeah.
Their track. They have a facility like an hour away or something. But Honda is very involved with Mid Ohio, so the way that Honda does their sponsor activations that whole weekend is super sick.
They do a great job.
No clue where they get 27 S2000s from, but they have 27 of them for driver intros.
They have them.
Didn't know there were 27 S2000s still left.
I mean, and just overall the accessibility, and with the ticket price being so low, I'm stealing this point directly from Patrick, by the way, so give him credit for this one. The ticket price being so low makes the paddock pass easier to swallow, and with the paddock pass, the experience is just incredible.
I mean, let's just put some numbers on this real quick. For 5 races this year, full access to all of them. No pit pass for Indy, but really, pit pass for Indy is a cool, I've done it once, and it's not useful beyond that. It's a cool experience, don't get me wrong. I recommend everyone do it at least once. But that's it. You don't really need to do it again. Everyone in the pit lane is way too busy for you to be talking to them. They've got a job to do. It's great to experience it and experience the vibes, but don't get in the way of the teams. We paid $500 for 5 races at Mid Ohio.
And it's more than 5, really.
Yeah, 5 marquee races. Well,
and then
4 marquee races and a huge event weekend for Vintage Motorcycle Days, which includes 5 different racing series racing that weekend.
Yeah.
And then our Nashville tickets are 110 with paddock passes, I think. If we reorder the same as last year. Indy 500 is the most expensive IndyCar race we're going to, and that's because it's the Indy 500.
Yeah, we paid, 130?
Not even. I think it was 110 again.
110.
Maybe 130 after fees.
Yeah.
It's going to be 95 to renew it.
So it's great. It's a great value proposition, and you'll have a great time, and the autograph session. There's a guaranteed autograph session with every single driver from
except for the 500.
Yeah,
they might do a qualifying weekend. I'm not sure. Or on carb day. Not sure the 500's vibes.
For other race weekends, yeah. The fan experience Indy 500 is just the Indy 500 because.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I have, of the racing series I've gone to, my top 2 experiences are Rolex 24 and probably Mid-Ohio IndyCar.
I think the racing product side, Nashville was way better. But I think fan experience wise, Mid-Ohio is just so accessible.
Yeah.
Nashville, you had to take a tram, go through security and everything for the paddock. You had to go through the security every time you entered the track and every time you entered the paddock, which is just kind of a hassle. I get it, but we also got used to Mid-Ohio, which is, hey, you got your tickets? Cool. Go park for free up there.
And once you're in, you're in.
Yeah.
That's that. So, Overall, IndyCar fan experience is incredible. I went to an F1 race last year, Coda, and it's a stark contrast. The activations are sick, hard
Hmm.
to get to, spread apart, expensive, but it's sick.
Yeah,
But you have no access. You're not looking at the pit lane. You're not looking at the paddock. You're not even getting within 1,000 feet.
you're not sitting outside of Max Verstappen's Max Verstappen's motorhome to talk to him after the race.
Yeah, and
IndyCar, you're sitting outside of your favorite driver's motorhome after the race if you want, and they will stop to talk to you.
yeah,
The IndyCar drivers are just guys.
they're just the homies.
And then that's even further true for Indy Next drivers.
Yes, any next
Um,
drivers are great.
we love Miles Rowe. We love Evagoras Papasavas. Those are the two goats of Indy NXT. Can't wait for both of them to get into IndyCar because that will happen.
Yeah, Jacob Abel was a former GOAT. Louis Foster, a former GOAT. They retired. They moved on.
I mean, we got to watch that title battle last year. We saw
That
two
was.
title battles last year.
I was saying. So I was like, I'd like to see more NXT races. I know it's probably a budget thing, but I'd like to see more of them. But
We'll see what, three of them this year? Indy Road Course. We'll see one of the races that they do there.
Yeah,
Mid Ohio, Nashville.
3 of them. Hell yeah. They don't run the Indy 500. They can do what they
God,
did when
those
they
things would
opened
it would just be foot to the floor.
Literally. I mean, basically is an Indy car anyways.
Yeah.
For
But
the
you
most
have
part.
to actually use your weight jacker. Which is, if you heard Connor Daly, he said that's what caused Larson's crash, he thinks. Is
Yeah,
he didn't
'cause he's
jack
more
it into the corner. Which, rookie mistake, kind of what you can expect out of Larson.
out of a rookie, you
Yeah.
know? So,
He ran one Indy 500, but he didn't have an extra 100 pounds on the back of the car back then.
for real. Speaking of that, Indy 500 testing last weekend was broadcasted for free on YouTube.
Thank
10
you.
out of 10.
Thank you,
10 out
IndyCar.
of 10. Had 20,000 viewers ish,
After a
15,000 ish.
3-hour delay, it was at like 17K.
I listened to both sessions partially. Most of day 2 at work. I just had it on my speaker and
I listened to the entire
it.
3-hour delay, and then I had a meeting when they finally went green.
Of course. So, only things interesting coming from that is Takuma Sato's wreck. Very
That's
unfortunate. He had a fast
entire
car.
primary car destroyed.
He
That
had a
is
very fast car too. Second
not
fastest
good
car.
for RLL. Yeah, he's RLL, right?
I think.
He's their fourth entry.
Sounds right. Yeah, junked a very fast car, unfortunately. And then we had Kyle Larson's wreck. Due to weight jacker.
Didn't
That
junk
car
the
is not
car,
towed.
but
Yeah, not junk. Couple suspension pieces, I'm sure.
probably new body work. Probably put a hole in the side pod.
Yeah.
Um,
But at least he crashed finally. It was bound to happen eventually.
better to do it during testing than during quali or the race.
Yeah, exactly. So,
And I mean, it's Larson. It's a super speedway. He's gonna fuck it into the wall at some point. So,
yeah. What are you gonna do?
surprised he didn't do it at all last year. But yeah, let's talk about the hybrid a little bit. I did find it interesting on Speed Street. Evidently, there's actually a lot of strategy with the hybrid at IMS running the oval. Specifically because it is a 4-lap quali. If you run the hybrid all the way down to 0%, it's automatically going to basically be trying to harvest energy. So it's going to slow down the car. So what they found for the fastest run, because usually your 4th lap is going to be your slowest lap because your tires have started going, all that stuff. But they found that actually if you use the hybrid on the last lap, it was actually Connor's fastest lap of his 4-lap run.
His 4th lap, which is very uncommon in previous years.
So we might actually see, I'm curious, higher qualifying speeds once you go to 4-lap averages.
So very curious to see that. But overall, with the hybrid, I think we both, or at least I know I am, have some issues with it. Surprised to learn about that about Indy qualifying, but it makes sense.
It makes sense
Um,
for Indy
but
qualifying
on a
specifically.
race basis, and as it's been used currently, the only time we hear about the hybrid or get information about the hybrid is when it breaks,
Mm-hmm.
and that's unfortunate because you're missing horsepower, and then you just have a 100-pound paperweight.
Basically.
It's unfortunate.
And
It
we've
really
even
doesn't
seen
seem to spice it
drivers
up.
where they have hybrid issues and it really doesn't make a difference with how they race.
As long as it's not actively on fire, actively fighting the power unit like car
Because I
wise.
think Rossi had hybrid issues in St. Pete and he had a top 10, so.
Yeah, I believe some, but yeah, it's frustrating because the hybrid's such a great idea, and in other motorsports it does work, but it's got a ways to go, and this just the current implementation is just not doing it.
I did like the idea of running kind of an IMSA rule for our engine regs, where you can choose to have the hybrid, you can choose not to have the hybrid, and there's
Yeah,
just a
I
way to
agree.
kind of govern the
BOP
power
it.
output. Yeah, basically bringing
Yep,
BOP
torque
to
sensor.
IndyCar. I don't want to bring a torque sensor. Can you imagine how that would fuck up Nashville with that huge bump?
Oh my God, yeah. But yeah, the hybrid's just a paperweight. Unfortunately for a lot of races, just a ticking time bomb that might ruin your race.
He's only saying
Um,
this because he's a Scotty Mac fan and he had to deal with thermal.
I am. I do feel this type of way. Now I will say there is a benefit to the hybrid. We don't get cautions from stalls.
Yep.
They can restart their car using the hybrid, which is awesome. And I wouldn't be upset if we got rid of maybe just used it as a flat little, base thing that gives you X amount of power, period. Not an on off kind of thing. I don't know if that's humanly possible, but
Mm-hmm.
and we just had a 50-pound starter in the back of the car. I don't hate it, but the cars are heavier and the speeds are a little lower at IMS this year. Um, so I think you were suggesting, Pat, maybe turn up the boost, hopefully for qualifying. The engines
Yeah,
can take
because I
it.
mean we're at 232.5 was the top no-toe speed, I want to say, and that was Takuma Sato.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was a no-toe. I think it was a no-toe.
That's a no toe.
Um, but yeah, I'm just
It's
I
down
don't
like a
know.
mile an hour.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought that IndyCar had KERS at some point, but I'm wrong. We have KERS now. Um, I don't know. I might
You're
just be thinking of Project Cars because I think the IndyCar does have. Oh, it's just push to pass. I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. I might even be fine with the hybrid if we got rid of push to pass. I feel like then it would make it a little bit more strategic with using it to attack and defend. Because now everyone's just using it the same way because they still have push to pass at their disposal.
Yeah.
Um, I'd be interested in maybe doing a test of no push to pass and see how that works out. Just an
Could be
idea.
interesting.
Just an idea.
Could be interesting. Rolling in that, I think Fox could help this issue slightly because I think another problem is the lack of information on it.
Yeah.
The graphics package doesn't. They barely show how much push to pass they have left.
Yeah, NBC had
But
that on standby at Mid Ohio for when that package went live.
yeah, so hopefully they can get some better package made
IndyCar has
that
the
shows hybrid.
data. They show it in
Yeah,
the IndyCar app. It shouldn't be that hard to pull it into the graphics package.
yeah. So hopefully they can get that better displayed and just be able to see more clearly that. But yeah, I mean the hybrid. I think they'll figure it out. Whether that be when the new regs come, they do something, change it differently, make it open so you can or cannot. Like you can have the hybrid, or you can have like total equivalent horsepower number,
Yeah.
and then you do the weight, and I don't know, you put ballast in it.
Content.
I don't.
Yeah.
You figure it out. Um. So, I'd
Yeah,
be
I'd be interested how that goes if they opened up the regs a little bit. Um, I don't know. I'm excited for where the trajectory that IndyCar is on. IndyCar was already a great product, and I think it's just becoming a better product. Um, I love IndyCar. We love IndyCar. Um, yeah, it's better than Formula One, but don't tell the F1 fans that because then tickets will get expensive and hard to get.
I will say this: I don't want to say better because then we're no worse than the people that high road with
You're
F1.
right. Sorry. IndyCar
Don't
is a
high
better
road.
on-track racing product than F1.
We think some people. Everyone's free to their own opinion. We're right
It's
and
not
they're
even an
wrong. Like
opinion,
they're
dude.
entitled to their opinion. We
Can
still
we
like
just
F1,
compare
obviously.
two bad races? Let's compare Suzuka this year and Mid Ohio last year. We had a change for the lead. It was on a pit cycle, but
It's a change for the lead. But yeah, I do like that a lot of F1 fans that got in F1 with Drive Survivor starting to get into IndyCar. It's great for the sport. Brings more money in, brings more people covering it, more coverage, gets it more into the mainstream, which is what we want.
yeah.
Really don't want ticket prices to hike up, but it is what it is. I
Then
want
we
the
just put
sport to
more super
grow.
speedway races on, and we can fill the super speedways. I'd be fine with that, honestly. Except Mid Ohio is already a little too full. Please don't go to the middle of Ohio.
Yeah, middle of Ohio is already pretty busy.
I can't even text people during that race.
Yeah,
It's
you sure
almost like
can't.
the cell engineers didn't account for 100,000 people showing up for a race weekend.
In the middle of a farm field.
Yeah, literally in the middle. If you have not been to Mid Ohio, it's in the middle. Before you get to the track entrance, cornfield. You drive past the track entrance, cornfield.
It is the middle of Ohio.
Yep.
But we love
I'm
Mid
pretty
Ohio.
sure that the fireworks show that they shoot off for 4th of July is just in some dude's backyard.
I think it's the guy. I think that guy owns the track or something, or there's
Yeah.
some.
But literally, like,
There's
his
something
house is
there.
right there.
Yeah, which sick house. Would love to live there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Well, the product is good right now. The sport is on a great trajectory. Very curious to see the new regs
And we'll have
come
more IndyCar content on track in 2 weeks.
a couple weeks from now. You'll be getting some on-track IndyCar experience.
And then you'll have
IndyCar content
from Quali Day, too. And then a little bit of content from 500 Day, but not a ton.
Yeah, it's gonna be so busy and loud. We're just gonna enjoy the moment, really.
Yeah, we'll be in the grandstands basically the whole time. Yeah, support your local tracks, support IndyCar, watch IndyCar on Fox. 3 p.m. this Sunday Eastern time.
Sounds right. It's usually 3 p.m. So
Somewhere in there. Watch IndyCar instead of NASCAR when it's competing because IndyCar is great and it's on less than NASCAR. You can afford to miss one NASCAR race. The playoff system is dumb anyways. It's not like races
Amen,
matter
brother.
until we get to the last 12 races.
Amen, brother.
But Ryan, final thoughts on IndyCar?
Love it. Keep doing what you're doing, IndyCar. Never change. Well, change a little bit, but not a lot, please.
Change a little bit, but get a new chassis maybe. I'm gonna pull a David Land here. It's time for a new chassis.
Time for a new chassis. As David Land once said, "You old head."
Sorry, there's probably some clouds up there that I'm yelling at.
David Land is my favorite old head IndyCar fan. I love him for it.
Yep. Looking forward to a great weekend this weekend, and it is officially in 3 hours, the month of May.
Let's go.
By the time you're seeing this, it will be the month of May.
It'll be
the best month of the year.
Hyped. Cannot wait.
Have a great day, guys, and have some fun. Go to some races. Go to your local go-kart place. See which of you and your friends is fastest. Because we know if it wasn't for the weight disadvantage, it would be me.
I contend that VM. I contend this.
Let's just we'll throw some ballasts on your cart and we'll see how it goes.
I'm down. I'm down.
I've got a buddy that works at full throttle, so I'll see if it's something we can do. I'll also have him detune your engine, cut your fuel line. All right, guys. Everyone have a great weekend. It's Casey Kane
Like,
Friday.
subscribe, Case Kane Friday. Keep rolling, rolling, rolling right through the weekend.
Hell yeah, brother. See you guys later.
Peace.